Teams. Welcome. Glad to be here.
Oh, thank you.
We'll do some introductions first. This is me with two of my favorite little people. Joe Johnson, by the way.
Hey, that's me. I'm Carl Ritchie, District Manager in South Texas. Now I'm doing a little kayaking out to the oil rigs out there.
Year 2011, summertime, Portland Denny's annual softball wiffle ball tournament. That's me on the pitching mound, star pitcher with a knuckleball.
And then, of course, we have Jalil.
And then who's that? What happened? That was 1977 when I entered this country. That's how they allowed me to come in.
And we'll go around the room real quick and everybody introduce themselves, how long you've been here, and we'll start with you, young man.
Anthony Padilla, General Manager now in Florida, Mexico. Been with the company for 8 years.
Tammy Radke, 6742 Green Valley, Arizona, with the company 17 years.
Ashley Clark, 6545, Camp Verde, Arizona. Been with the company for 15 years.
Sandra Casares, Raton, New Mexico. I've been with the company for 8 years.
Valerie Belknap, Nephi, Utah. Been with the company for 8 years.
Everybody do us a favor real quick before we go on. Turn your cards around so we can, I assume you already know who you are. Okay.
We're going to
well.
My name is Daniel Payanis. I'm the store manager at the Denny's and Fort Bliss in El Paso.
Awesome. Bob Barger, Tucson, Arizona, and about 9 months.
All right. I'm Anthony Ciceros from Albuquerque. What store line?
7884.
7884, thank you. I've been with Denny's now for a whopping going on 3 years now.
Good morning. My name is Deidre Day, unit number 8695, and I've been with Denny's for 8 years.
Hello, my name is Darwin Dabbs, Flagstaff Denny's Mall. I've been with the company for 8 years.
Redmond Cooper, store 6769 Fountain Hills, been with the company 12 years.
Randy Parker, Saratoga Springs, Utah. Been with the company 8 years, going on 9.
Sandra Rodriguez from El Paso, and I've been with the company less than a year.
Stephen Ferguson, been with the company for 11 months. 3 months. Corpus Christi, Texas.
I'm Angela Hamilton. I am Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've been with the company for 9 years.
Rosario Talavera, 6806 Portland, with the company for 10 years.
Eliana Villalba, 6910 El Paso, Texas. Been with the company 9 years.
I'm Mary French, I'm from Midvale, Utah, and I've been with the company 9 years.
Sean Irish, I'm in Clovis, and I've been with the company 8 years.
I'm Shauna Jacobs from Gallup, Mexico, 6649. I've been with the company off and on for many years and worked for different buildings.
Great.
Hazel Morales, College, Mexico, 5 years.
Felicia Rogers, 6361, Holbrook, Arizona, and I've been with the company 6 years.
Luis Sengua, Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been with the company 10 years.
Aaron Hernandez, been with the company for 6 years, and I'm from Truth and Consequence, 7298.
Frank Hernandez, 7143, El Paso, Texas, and I've been with the company for 13 years.
Christopher Jones from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, been with the company 10 years.
Lonnie McInerney, worked for the company for 4 years in Missoula, Montana.
Terry Miller, 6800 Portland, Oregon, and I've been with the company 4.5 years.
Jennifer Jennings, I'm a floater, and from Gilbert, Arizona, and I've been with Denny's for over 12 years.
Clark Morris from Franklin, Kentucky, in April to be a year.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. You might notice.
Al?
Oh. Al?
Can't forget you.
I'm Belver Powell. I'm a franchise business coach. I work for Denny's Corporate. I'm on the majority of QK restaurants, and I'm the lead FBC for QK, and been with Denny's for 8 years this time.
Thank you all for being here. You might notice that we've tried to separate you from people that you already know intentionally so that you can get to know the people to the right and left of you. One of our goals at this conference is that you can make friends from far away and build some rapport, some relationships with people that you can call in a few weeks or a few months and network and each other. So please do that.
A little housekeeping. Silence your phones, please. Bathroom locations, you already know where those are. They're through the glass doors. Take notes. And part of the reason why I take notes is we're going to have a Q&A at the end of each segment. So if you just have an idea or a thought, just jot it down, and that'll help us move it a little quicker. Now, look who's to the right of you and look who's to the left of you, because that's who you're going to be seated with all the other tables. So when you leave here to the next one, sit next to the same people you have. So you guys should become good friends by the end of the day.
And make sure that you guys take those name tags with you so that the next group knows who you are.
Yeah. All right, why are we here? We're here to share our goal, our mission, and our vision with you. We are going to try to increase sales, we're going to increase sales 20% over the next 5 years using one simple asset, you. So how do we get there? It's $82 a day. Simple, but not easy. Kind of like digging a ditch. Simple, but not easy. It's a pretty lofty goal, but we want to do a couple things here. First of all, on lofty goals, we're working for a company that is quite used to lofty goals. When Doug and Robbie started the company, their one goal was to be the largest franchise in Denny's history, achieve that goal. Another goal was to be the first $1 billion company. They achieved that goal. The next goal is to have more company stores than corporate has, and we should hit that this year on that. So we're used to it, they're used to it. So let's see if it's a SMART goal. It's specific, very specific. 20% in 5 years. Can you measure it? Yeah, we can measure it with Exformative. We can measure it shift by shift if we wanted to. See if we get that $82. Is it actionable? Yes, during these workshops you're going to find it's very actionable. Some will teach you on the GCA, some will be telling you how to drive top line sales, but it's very actionable. Is it realistic? I think so. I think that it's very realistic, and I would be surprised if it took us 5 years to get to 20. And is it timely? Can we put a time on it? We have 5 years. So it is a SMART goal, so I think that there's no reason why we can't attain it. But we know what the mission is. So we heard John Miller speak, rules to live by. Everyone is welcome to dine at Denny's. Everyone is treated like our favorite guest. And everyone is shown kindness and respect. So for our purposes on building great teams, Doug put some addendums to this. Everybody is welcome to apply at Denny's. Everyone is treated like our favorite employee. And everybody is shown kindness and respect. Train people well enough so they can leave. Treat them well enough so they won't want to. Anybody can tell me who quoted that? Whose quote is that? Anybody know? No? Val, you can't. Richard Branson is who that is. So we're going to start our little presentation with a little short film.
One day, a young boy asked his father, "What is the value of his life?" Instead of answering, the father told his son to take this rock and go sell it at a market. If anybody asks the price, raise 2 fingers and don't say anything. The boy then went to the market, and a woman asked, "How much is this rook? I want to put it in my garden." The boy didn't say anything and raised up 2 fingers. And the woman said, $2, I'll take it. And the boy went home and told his father, "A woman wants to buy this rock for $2. The father then said, "Son, I want you to take this rock to a museum. If anybody wants to buy it, don't say a word, and just put up 2 fingers." The boy then went to the museum, and a man wanted to buy the rock. The boy didn't say a word and put up 2 fingers. And the man said, $200, I'll take it. The boy was shocked and went running home. "Father, a man wants to buy this rock for $200. His father then said, "Son, the last place I want you to take this rock is to a precious stone store. Show it to the owner and don't say a word. And if he asks the price, just put up 2 fingers." The son then went to a precious stone store. He showed the rock to the owner. "Where did you find this stone? It is one of the most rarest stones in the world. I must have it. How much would you sell it for?" The boy put up 2 fingers, and the man said, "I'll take it for $200,000. The boy, not knowing what to say, ran home to his father. "Father, there's a man that wants to buy the rock for $200,000. His father then said, "Son, do you know the value of your life now? You see, it doesn't matter where you come from, where you were born, the color of your skin, or how much money you were born into. It matters where you decide to place yourself, the people you surround yourself with, and how you choose to carry yourself. You may have lived your whole life thinking that you were a $2 stone. You may have lived your whole life surrounded by people that saw your worth only for $2. But everybody has a diamond inside of them. And we can choose to surround ourselves with people that see our value and see the diamond inside of us. We can choose to put ourselves in the market or put ourselves in a precious stone store. And you can also choose to see the value in other people. You can help other people see the diamond inside of them. Choose the people you surround yourself with wisely. That can make all the difference in your life.
Powerful stuff. So there's 3 things that you can take to. First of all, you've already done one. You surround yourself with people that do see the diamond in you. So step number 1 is done. Now, as you're building great teams, you got to surround yourself with people that you value as well. And I think that's the biggest part of growing the team. Oops. Is that the right slide? Oh, yeah. Growing the best team. So here to talk to you about that is Carl.
Thank you, guys. And so what a powerful video. I've shared it with a lot of people since that first watching that, because we just surrounded ourselves in a precious stone store, right? Brought value to everybody here. So good stuff. So you guys recognize those 2 guys? Maybe, maybe not. Playing a little Jenga. So the concept of Jenga is kind of how you guys live your life every day, right? In your restaurant, that juggling and balancing act, trying to keep that structure solid as can be throughout the entire day. Putting pieces in their places and where they need to be. We've kind of duplicated that structure back here, and we'll have some fun with that as we go along. And the goal today is to reverse that effect and build a foundation from the bottom up and make it secure using the intelligence that you guys have every day running your operation. So while they played Jenga, Dingo was born, the Denny's version, right? We don't need to weaken the foundation, we need to build the foundation. And the part of Build Great Teams is to work this in reverse. So it's going to be a lot of fun. As you see there, QK has built quite a foundation for us. And so we want to share some of that with you guys today. So first of all, welcome to Build Great Teams. We want to talk about the Denny's way, right? That's a piece of the Denny's way. And Denny's says, learn, coach, and inspire. That's what we do every day. Every day, subconsciously or not, that's what we do. We train, coach, and develop our restaurant teams, empowering them to succeed. Recruit and hire only people who can be passionate about delivering the Denny's way. Passion is very important, right? That's a key word inside of that. train first before new employees assume their positions. We'll talk a little bit about labor savers and how we break that training sometimes for these guys. Recognize our team members for performance well done. What do we use for that? How do we recognize our team members right now?
MVP awards.
We share the love board.
We share the love, that's right. We work with our team members to develop and strengthen them and provide a path for advancement. And we work hard to retain top talent. So we kind of broke those down for you a little bit, and we're going to split them up today, and so that way we can dissect that a little bit more in the get them piece, right? First step of that is recruiting, getting them in, finding those people that are passionate about the Denny's way. Keeping them, how do we retain those people? Very important that we hold on to them. We listened to Dennis talk earlier about turnover. So we want to retain that and save some of that money. And then the end piece is to get our people where you guys are today or where we are today, right? We want to grow them, we want to develop them into the next leaders of our company. So today we're going to talk about assessing the needs as part of Get 'em. We want to inform the community of what our needs are. We can't just write something on a crayon on the back of a placemat, now hire and slap it on the window, right? Anybody ever seen that in the school? Yeah. Interviewing process and kind of what that looks like and what we could do maybe to dig into that diamond a little bit better in the interview to expose them to see if they're a piece of what we do. So the first piece of that would be assessing your needs. What are your staffing levels and PARs? So, you know, that's a good foundation for our DINGA today. Who in here can tell me how we calculate turnover? Anybody? How do you know if you need to hire people? How do you know what your annual turnover is or monthly turnover? What's the formula for that?
You go by yourselves.
No.
Not so much.
GPH?
No, it starts with staffing, right?
Yeah.
So how many people are on our roster? Right? Oh, come on. Don't make me give it away. No? Man. All right, so it's your total roster divided by your loss for the period, right? So you got to continually keep filling that to backfill it because you know on average you lose 2 a month, right? You're going to wait at the end of the month to hire 2 people? Probably not. But if you calculate what your turnover is and you know what your staffing levels are and what your PARs are, you can stay ahead of that and not get caught shorthanded. So, what does a perfect candidate look like? Everybody have a POG? You know what that is? Profit and operation unit? Yeah. So there's a page in there that says what the ideal candidate looks like, right? They even went as far as putting what they're supposed to look like in there, right? So make sure that we're following that. When we interview somebody, if they're willing to change some things, we may have a spot for them, right? Guest perception is very important in what we do every day. If they don't fit the guest perception area, maybe they fit a back of the house position, right? You never know. But careful with that and make sure that they're willing to make the change. Core competencies. We don't hire cooks with no hands, right? I love them, but what are they going to do, right? So we've got to hire the right person for the right job. Can they flip an egg? We can teach that. Yeah. But do they have personality? Do they have good attitude, behaviors? Are they passionate about what they do? Passionate about following the Denny's way? Those things we can dig into with some probe questions, some good interview questions. Are we hiring strategically? How many people have hired somebody who walked in right now in the middle of the moment because I'm short-staffed? Anybody? Yeah, I've done it. Right? Oh, good, you got a job, man. For 2 days. So really think about that. Get the right person in. Have a couple interviews. Follow up on some references. Make sure that that candidate is the right person that we want working in our business. Right? Anybody off the street maybe doesn't have the best intentions for our customers. Right? Consistently replacing the bottom 10% of your team. So we heard a word in the other room this morning called elevate, right? Do you remember that word, elevate? We want to elevate this 10%. We really want to lift them up and drive them and make them better than they see themselves. Kind of like put them in a precious stone store, right? Get that 10% in your restaurant. You can identify them how. And how do we do that? What does Denny's have for that? PADA, right? Scorecard. Yeah, especially their server, attendance. If they're coming into work every day. You know, they don't have to be a server and sell the most food. They can be the best dishwasher in the world, right? Yeah. All right, so reaching out to the community and letting the community know what our needs are. Really, we get a better perception or better pool to pick from if we share that out in the public. Table tents, server buttons, POS receipts, reader boards, and Paycom material. I think some of you guys have seen those Paycom things that says now hiring qkholdings.com. Yeah. Good flow of applications through there. The employee referral program. I'm sure each one of you guys have some sort of referral program. Whatever it is in your area, please check with your district manager because needs of your facility may be different than my needs. So some go above and beyond on some of those, some we don't have needs. People just keep coming in because we're the employer of choice. That's very important to be that employer of choice. Building and curbside material. You guys have yard banners that says no hiring? Got any that's twisted and blown over laying in the mud? Probably. Right? Window clings that say no hiring, all curled up, you can't even read them, or half torn off. Yeah. Or we're talking about the placemat with a crayon taped to the front window. Man, so let me tell you what you get for $2 in marketing or in recruiting. You get a $2 employee. We got to make them a $200,000 employee, but you get $2 employees. So spend some money on that, spend some time on that. Make sure you're clean and crisp. Make sure that we're the employer of choice, right? If somebody walks by and sees that, they don't care about hiring, right? Or you get the person that says, hey, maybe that's hiring. Maybe. So social media today, we got a lot of things going on Facebook. Newspapers dying breed a little bit. Craigslist, the radio. What else we got out there? Instagram, Twitter. Schools, Chamber of Commerce, Workforce Solutions, churches. Great places to do some recruiting. Good places, right? Especially workforce. And you got somebody down on their luck looking for a job, we're an employer of choice. Got benefits. Use that word in some restaurants and man, people come flocking over. You got what? How do you even pronounce that? I hired a lady last week that said that. I can't pronounce that. And so yeah, we want to dig in that interview process a little bit on how to open them up. What do you have to be prepared for an interview? What do we need for an interview?
Application.
An application, right? Who are we talking to? What have they done? Did they lie on the application? What have they done? We need a pen, right? Write down some stuff, some place to take some notes. Yeah, because we want to follow up on that on the second interview. We can do some trap questions. Ask them a question, bring them back 2 weeks later and ask them the same question. Did they lie to me the first time? Were they honest? And was sincere and they're passionate about the Denny's way? And that first impression, very important that it goes both ways. We come out of the pit covered in pancake batter, dripping sweat, right? Now's not the time for the interview, but I'd like to get a phone number and a name. You're not walking out of here today without a name or a phone number. Because if they want a job today, they're going to get a job today, regardless if it's with you guys or not. And so make sure that's very important that we walk away with that information right then and there. And that leads in that instant interview. There are days that we are kind of slow, right? 2 to 5. Most Denny's around the country, 2 to 5. Saw some pictures of empty restaurants over here. Open interviews, there's nothing wrong with typing that up and laminating it. And I don't know what's specific for your units, but my unit when I was a GM was 2 to 6. Laminated on the window, whoosh, every Wednesday. Everybody knew every Wednesday you come in and at least sit with me and we talk about it. My employees knew that if they had a friend that needed a job, come in on Wednesday. The boss always hires on Wednesday. So it's a good system to put in place to think about that if you're always struggling, especially if you want to elevate that last 10%, right? You got to bring in more if you're going to rotate and elevate. So keep that in mind. Interview legalities, what does that mean? Show of hands, who knows what some red flags are in an interview? Yes, ma'am.
Don't ask about race, age, anything that would make you discriminatory.
Yeah, absolutely. Come up here. Come up here. Give her a round of applause for that one. We got a $25 chip for that question. This is good in the casino downstairs. So part of building that block is asking the right questions, getting the right people in there. Place it back in one of those slots.
Careful.
Strategically.
Careful.
Watch it fall.
I think she saw me take it out there. So yeah, a lot of red flags in interviews. Are you married? Do you have kids, right? It doesn't matter. That doesn't pertain to what we do every day. Flipping eggs doesn't matter how many kids you have. Maybe tell you how much you can cook for it. I don't know. But yeah, so keep an eye on that because I sat in some interviews once and that's all I heard. Are you married? Do you have kids? And I was like, oh. So when you don't get the job, the repercussions of that is because that's why I didn't get the job in their mind. Maybe not in your mind, but in their mind when they walk away. So be very careful with that. And the other thing is the EEOC part of that. Race, rage, right? Discrimination, religion, all that stuff, skin color, and it's not important. Job description of what we do every day, what they've done in their past is important for us. Any questions about any of that? Digging a little deeper on anything for you? No? All right, so the second piece of that we had broke down was keep them, right? The retention piece. Very important to reduce that turnover and retain these employees and grow them to that top line employee. And the first step of that is orientation. Be prepared for full attention. You guys, we saw a picture of Jenga falling over. You guys got a million things to do to keep that upright all day long. But taking the time for that new employee, very important. You guys all went through orientation, right? Was it scattered? Was it consistent? I mean, there's a lot of tender in this room, so I don't know if you guys can go back 8 years. It's a lot of pancakes to go back 8 years. But give your full attention to that employee. Make them a part of the team. If you did the interview and you scheduled the orientation, let your team know that that guy's coming in. John's going to be here at 1, guys. Okay? So when the employee comes in and says, hey, I'm here for orientation, right? They're scared. We're all scared our first day. We fear new. So when you do that and they say, hey, can I get some drink? Have a seat, John? Are you John? No, I'm part of the team. I'm this guy here. Give me something to drink, have a seat. Taking a tour of the unit, very important, right? Just because you guys know where the bathroom is, doesn't mean they do. So make sure that we give them a tour. Introduce them to everybody. So important. Schedules. You hired the person. You scheduled the orientation. You knew when they were coming. You knew what your staffing needs were before they got there. Give them a copy of the schedule. Day 1. Type, ready to go. Don't take them over to the schedule, show them where it is and write their name in there. Have them a copy. So that way there's no miscommunication of when they're supposed to be there. Have the trainer there, right? Who's the trainer? Sparkly trainers, right? We got to have upbeat, sparkly trainers. Lift them, empower them, develop them. Set the expectations, set them up for success. Today's expectation is 20 and 5, right? That is the expectation. So the next person we hire, we've got to evaluate how they're going to bring us 20% and 5. Really? Are they a salesman? You know, a lot of my area, servers got to sell ketchup to work the floor. Amen. In training or in interview, sell this bottle of ketchup. If you want to sell food for Denny's, you can sell a bottle of ketchup. And if they shut down, man, maybe they're a hostess. Maybe they're a dishwasher, maybe they're something else. But it's amazing to watch somebody sparkle and light up selling a bottle of ketchup. Read the ingredients, they're like, give me 2 minutes. And I'll tell you, the best is drama kids from high school somewhere. They're amazing. They can sell food like nobody's business.
Especially if they have the speech and the drama.
Oh, absolutely, right? Choir group, any of those guys are just above and beyond. So yeah, use some of those things. Makes it fun, right? Because the same monotony. If you got 30 interviews set up for the day, it's just over and over. What have you done? It's a lot of fun. And training is such a valuable piece. You know what the biggest piece of turnover is in young people today?
They were trained properly.
Up here. Ooh, I got $25 on that one. So it's 23% loss of employees. Thank you. Comes from, I'm not as good as the person next to me. Anywhere you think it can fit.
Really?
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Somebody better be.
Spit. Perfect. So 23% of our turnover comes from I'm not as good as the person next to me, right? And so I'm not going to ask for help. I'm just going to go somewhere else and maybe they'll train me better. We don't want that. We want to do 100% through the door. And what do we use today to get them trained? Right? All right. So engage STAR trainers, all the training materials. You guys seen the books that came out for the job codes and all that?
Yeah.
It's kind of, those of you who've been around a little while, we went from the Sparkle books, right, to e-learning. We're back in the book, right? But yeah, have all that stuff available. Not maybe we'll get it in next week. We'll get you caught up. We didn't show dedication to that employee. They're not going to be dedicated to us through the point. I'm going to back up real quick. STAR trainers. STAR trainers are so important. Brent runs an amazing training operation. And I have a couple training stores in my area, and I heard a certified trainer one day say she ain't gonna make more than a week. Don't put money on people's head. Right? How do they feel, right? You've already checked out on them before they even hit the floor. So embrace them, encourage them. Go to your manager, have your server or trainers come to you and say, hey, this guy's weak in this area. What's that area they're weak in, right? Pull them to the side. What can I do? Be a coach, be a mentor. Talk about that this morning. Be a mentor. Schedule training during non-peak times, right? Labor savers. We touched on that a second ago. How many times have you guys been in a line? Hey, can you pick up a section? It's like deer in the headlights, right? They're scared. 2 days in. You'll be fine. I got you. Can't do that. We've got to go through the system. Set them up right. What do they talk about? Babies don't wake up walking, right? You got to crawl before you can walk. Same with our employees. Demonstrate and validate. You guys know what that means, right? You've all heard that before with Denny's. Make sure that they are confident. I can tell everybody, I know how to do that. Make them come over. Make them know shit. Oh man, what's good you got? Yeah, validate it. Simple things. And it just takes 2 seconds. I ask all my managers to go to the door when it's lunchtime. Have the host seat you. Hi, welcome to Denny's. All right. Got my seat. I do it in all my stores. You guys know ITT, right? What's the ITT sound like? I got something that's not great. Sell me one thing, and we can grow on the rest of that. But yeah, do that. That's a lot of fun. Don't just go grab a table and put your own order in. That's not fun. You're entitled to 30 minutes like everybody else. Let them wait on you. Ensure full training is done. Don't cut it short. And feel comfortable extending that. There are some things, a cook. Can you get a cook done in 15 days? Ready to roll, stand alone?
No.
Heck no. I cooked once and I was afraid of it. You got to extend it. Give them that time. Be patient. And find out the whys. Always dig into the whys. Why can they not? Figure out what we do. Because there's how many restaurants? 1,800 Denny's? 1,700 Denny's? There's a lot of people that know what we do. Why can't we this one guy to do what we do? We might need more time. Clean study areas. How's your break rooms? Good? Is that your study area for your employees? No? Well, that's good. Some break rooms are scary, right? Yeah. I went to one in Utah that said, your mom doesn't work here, I have to clean up after you. And man, it was so organized and clean. It was a nice looking study area. But take some pride in that. I mean, I've gone in the summer, you can't even get the cup off the counter. It's like stuck. Again, the new employee comes in, they're like, wait, I got to sit here for how long? We vaccinate before we train. All right. I'm going to turn this back over to Joe for a minute.
All right, some of the top reasons employees stay. Exciting work, challenging, great work environment, and culture. Working with great people. Fair pay and benefits. Supportive management, leadership, just a good all-around boss. Being recognized, valued, and respected. Meaningful work and making a difference. Pride in the organization, what it stands for, what the mission is, what the products are. And opportunity to grow with the company. So those are the top reasons people stay. Here are the 4 reasons employees fire us. Top 4 reasons anyway. Lack of appreciation and support. No opportunities to grow and learn. Lack of integrity by their supervisors. That's a big one. Unfriendly work environment caused by employees. How many times do you have employees that like that 10 table section? So you bring on the new people and they just run them off. They treat them like crap and you just constantly have that turnover. You get that click going more employees will stay if they have friends at work. I think the study was something like 80% more employees will stay if they have friends or best friends at work. Always encourage that. So many bosses treat employees as a means to the end, as a cog in the wheel. They don't give their employees recognition, they don't appreciate them, they don't give them the opportunity to grow, and they don't trust them with new responsibility. Managers want to hang on to everything, don't want to give anything away, don't want to give the empowerment away. And they forget that their employees are the best assets. We talked about hiring the right people for their position, making sure that we have the skill set that we're looking for, get that right person, aces in their places. Making sure that a lot of my managers will have them servers, and you folks probably do it too. Servers will wait on them before they get them to the section to kind of go through that testing phase. But a lot of times it's just a GM. Empower your assistant managers to do the same thing. You want them to all be on the same page. Ensure that your new employee fully understands what is expected. A lot of that you're going to set at orientation. Set your expectations there from day one. And again, all managers must be on the same page with the staff. You should be holding at least weekly manager meetings, if not a debrief on that little high five as you're coming in and they're leaving. Sit down and find out what's going on with the day. Find out if you have any issues with the staff that you might need to address. We're all about sharing the love. So sharing the love is easy to do. It's just, you just got to get in the habit of doing it. You just got to stop and try to catch people doing something right. A lot of times we're just trying to catch people doing something wrong. Try to catch them doing something right. And then tell everybody about it. Again, get your other managers involved in it. It can't just be you. It has to be a group effort. And it really is amazing it's a little corny, share the love, write that little thing. It can be a little bit corny, but man, it makes a huge difference. I get people all the time, they'll drag me over to the board. We'll show you some boards here. Hey, look what I got on there. So this is one board. This is an example of another board. These weren't good enough for one particular general manager, so he decided he wanted to do a whole wall. Whoa. That's Anthony over there. He says if a little good, a lot's better. So he has a whole wall. He recognizes all their birthdays over here, all birthday cards for them. And then you just have to share the little notes over here, right, Anthony?
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. And his employees, the morale in that store has skyrocketed over the last couple of years. In part, of course, from Anthony, but from this type of stuff. To make work fun, gamify the job. Be careful with this one. A lot of times when we say make work fun, we get fun and horseplay mixed on. Pretty soon you have people in a water fight, in a squirt gun fight. It's fun, but it's dangerous. So keep in mind that we don't want horseplay. We don't want anybody getting hurt. We don't want pranks being pulled on people. But we do want people to have fun when they come to work. Give them something to have fun with. Run contests on a daily basis, on a shiftly basis. You should be doing some type of contest for them to help increase the GCA or whatever you want to focus on. But it makes it fun. I mean, whether it's the dirty towel one where you pass around and whoever has the dirtiest towel at the end of the shift wins something. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be side work. It could be a gift card. Whatever you think will motivate them. And a lot of times we forget about the cooks and the SAs. So what I like to do is if I have 4 servers on and I have 2 cooks, the cooks are associated with 2 of the servers. So if one of those 2 servers win, the cook wins. And that way you get everybody involved in it. Reward your team continuously and keep the contest going and modify the contest to keep it fresh. There's lots of books out there. I was trying to think of the one that I saw many years ago, but it's like 60 or 70 ideas that you can just flip through and come up with some different ideas just to keep it fresh. Any questions on that? Pretty self-explanatory. I gotta give away a coin here. All right, traits of a leader. Who wants the $25 chip here? Can anybody tell me what the #1 trait of a leader is?
Lead by example.
Great communication.
Great listener.
Great listener, good one.
Delegates duties?
Delegates, good.
Attitude.
Huh?
The attitude.
Attitude, good.
Respect.
You're skirting around it, so.
Coaching.
Huh?
Coaching.
He said
Coaching, that's another important trait.
Knowledge.
No,
Displaying the behavior.
Being a role model.
You guys are skirting all the way around it. All the answers are good. I'll give it to you. Honesty and integrity. If they have integrity, nothing else matters. If they don't have integrity, nothing else matters. So you won't, as a leader, you won't get people to follow you if you don't have honesty and integrity. How about the next one? Come on, I gotta get this away. Throw it out there. Think of a trait of a leader. No, you can't have it. How about vision? All leaders have a great ability to think outside the box. They have a vision. They know where they're at and they know where they want to go. They inspire people. Some people are great at public speaking. I'm not one of them. Some people are great at well, just showing you how to do it. Getting in there, rolling up your sleeves, being part of the team. Sometimes that can be inspiring. So whatever way you can inspire them, use whatever works for you. You got to be able to challenge people. Sometimes it's hard to have those hard conversations about reality, but the reality is, you know, sometimes I just got to share it with you. And hey, you dropped the ball. I don't hate you, you know, but we're going to have a hard conversation about it. I'm going to protect you like a mother bear, but we're going to have hard conversations when we have to have it. You deserve it, the company deserves it, they deserve it, and I've never seen anybody fall apart because of a hard conversation. You've got to challenge them. And then, in fact, what Anthony said, communication skills, written communication skills, oral communication skills. You gotta use your logbook. You gotta talk to people. A lot of times throughout the shift, I'll watch a manager go 8 hours without ever coaching a person. You know, they'll talk to guests, they'll table touch, but they're not coaching their people. That's a huge mess. Huge mess. Now, as you can imagine, there's a lot of traits of a leader. It's the same as, you know, we got some traits of a manager. Anybody care to try to guess on the #1 trait of a manager? Nobody wants this?
Honesty and integrity.
Oh, that one would work for leaders.
Lead by example.
Lead by example is good.
Have a to-do list.
Have a to-do list is great.
Oh,
The #1 trait of a manager though. So if I'm a leader.
To be organized?
Being organized, good. But if I'm a leader and I have a vision, who's going to fulfill that vision for me?
Delegate.
Managers. Managers are great at executing visions. So as Doug gave us the mantra of 20 and 5, that was his vision. Now it's up to us to get down there and get that vision, execute it. The ability to direct. Got to be able to direct. Process management, that's basically just your day-to-day operations. You have a ton of things to do every day. It's just, process management is just the day-to-day operations. And they got to be people-focused. Again, they're our best assets. You know, we love having you folks here. You love having your employees here. You can't do it without them. So stay focused on your people. Okay, could you do this chip away?
I will make that chip away. And the block too?
I guess I'm gonna have to get easier questions.
We're going to skip through this briefly and like it. Jill, you're up. We're going to carry on this theme for a few minutes and then we'll move on. So, managers give directions. I'm going to ask to see if anyone can come up with the same concept, but the way a leader would think about it. Managers give directions. Leaders
Show. To be followed.
Leaders
ask questions. That was a hard one.
Leaders ask questions. What does that mean? When you see an employee, you're just going to go do this. You ask them, hey, do you know how to do that? Right?
That was a hard one. Managers have subordinates. Leaders have
followers. Leaders have followers. We have a lot of great leaders in our company and in the world. So be a leader, because that's where your employee is going to follow you to the end of the moon.
Managers use an authoritarian style. Leaders. Anybody? Coaching? Motivational style. We'll take that.
You as a leader is when you run your restaurant, your crew going to follow you when you lead them, when you motivate them, when you let them know when they do good, when you teach them what they need to improve. Keep that motivation going so your crew can continue looking at you as your leader.
Managers tell what to do. Somebody already answered this earlier. Show what to do.
So as a leader, you gotta be able to make the time. Don't say, oh, I gotta pull a door, I gotta do this. Make that few seconds and show that employee or your manager what they need to do.
Managers have good ideas, Leaders
Share the good idea.
Come up with like even farther. Follow through. Implement.
Leaders implement. Your crew is looking up to you. They want to see what you do so they can follow. When you implement the change, you got to be careful how that change impacts your crew.
Managers react to change.
Leaders embrace
Change. Embrace. What are some of the other ones?
Embrace.
Create change. Same thing.
As a leader, you got to be able to adopt and be ready to make the change. The change you make is what is going to make you to succeed for tomorrow.
Managers try to be heroes. Leaders recognize heroes. Keep going with that. Support. Make heroes of people.
Each employee that you have in your restaurant, it's your heroes. You created them. So continue keeping that motivation and let that heroism one day comes out. Don't shut them down. Keep talking to them and keep them continue being heroes in your establishment.
Managers exercise power over people.
Empower people.
Empower?
Yes.
Leaders empower.
Develop power with people. You're gonna get Joe's $25.
As a leader, you always got to develop your people. And the development, it never stops. When a server walks into the table and the guest asks, hey, can I have this? You got to empower your people to say, yes, of course I can do that.
Leadership is an intervention of getting things done through others. Two key points in there. Intervention, which I'll get back to a little bit later, but the main thing is getting things done through others. You have a produce guy, comes to your restaurant. You have an IT guy that helps you with those problems. You have a refrigeration guy that comes and works on your equipment. What do you do? What is it that's distinct about what you're doing and what they're doing?
You're identifying the problem to know which person you need to call in to come and help you take care of your problem.
But even then, you're using somebody else to fix your problem, right?
Yes.
Does that happen in the restaurant too?
Yes.
What is the difference between the guy who's using a crescent wrench and the tool you're using?
We're using people.
You're using people. Getting things done through others. That is a big distinction between what you guys do and what a lot of the world does. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. The tool say is the produce guy has a hand truck, he's got a big truck. That's his tool. IT guy has his computers, those are his tools. The refrigeration guy has a crescent wrench, that's his tool. Your tools are your people. Before I get to the next one, I want to recognize an IT guy. We have an IT guy in the room with us right now, and I know you've heard his voice over the phone a bunch of times. His name is Mike Myers, and I love this guy.
Well, thank you.
So, one thing, before I say anything, I need to, one thing that's really important for an IT guy, when your KVSs go down, and your cooks have lost all their tickets, your credit card machine down, and you got customers lining up, what do you really need? You need a guy on the end of the phone with the most calming, soothing voice. The most polite, courteous voice. It just calms you down. So Mike, why don't you come up for a second? I just want to hear, I want all of you to hear this voice coming from the face. You're going to be on camera. Leave the camera. Come up.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to embarrass you. And I just want everyone to hear this voice coming from the face because they don't get to see them. So would you just say something? Say something. Say, do you know the Gettysburg Address?
No.
Would you just say, 4 and 7 years? Listen to that voice. Isn't that so soothing? It's just so calm.
To be honest with you, I grew up in McDonald's. I was with the Black Eyed Peas, and I've been on your side of the thing. And obviously, I wouldn't have my job if it wasn't for every one of you. And I thank every one of you for that. Number one. And number two, it really sucks when the computer goes down. You got a lobby full of people, and you can't cash out tickets or you know, whatever it is. So
he knows what we do. He came up, he's got the restaurant in the blood. And you heard it today also from Doug and Dennis, and that's why we love working for them, because they know what we do too. And so I've digressed here from everything I was going to do, but I just want to, and it's really important as you guys are here this week to get to know the people that you talk to on the phone and to tell them.
yeah, and call me anytime. And I mean that. I mean anytime. I'm always. So my family, I grew up in this business. I answer the phone 7 days a week. I mean, if we have a store that has a problem, I want to know. And what I can do is I know on the Denny's side who does what. I have their home numbers. I mean, I might not always be able to fix it instantly, but you know, we will.
So you're on the way to a meeting and you're stuck in traffic and your car's overheating and the guy over here just gave you a finger. Call Mike. Anytime. You just heard it. Anytime, day or night. We're going to put up his number before we go.
Thank you.
We need our people. We're back to this how important our people are. We need our people more than they need us. Last Tuesday, I assume most of you were in the restaurant, and during that day you were there, the grills got scraped, the dishes got cleaned, the restrooms got cleaned, the servers got through their cycle. You probably did 600 customers, probably did $7,000 maybe. That was last Tuesday when you were there. If today you're not there, you're here, how much of that stuff is still getting done? Grills getting scraped, restrooms getting cleaned. How much of that stuff? You're probably thinking that there's a few things that aren't going to get done because you're not there, but probably 98% of that stuff is still going to get done because you're not there. Because it's your people are doing it. What if the opposite happened? What if yesterday you went to work? The worst nightmare. You came to work and nobody else came to work. Well, how much of that $7,000 would you still do on that day because you were the only one? Time, probably none of it, right? So the point is, this is how much we need our people. We get paid for what our people do, not what we do. You think about your performance appraisal, that form that you use. What's on that form? You know, driving sales, which is the GCA, suggestive sell, the hospitality, minimizing complaints, all done by your front of the house staff, mostly. You know, food costs, you give some direction, of course, but it's really made by those guys and ladies on the fry line who are portioning and they know their standards, and you know, the BPR is on that, so you get evaluated by that. And I've had some trouble in my district with hand washing on the BPR so far this quarter, with them not waiting the 20 seconds. Do you think it's the BPR watching me not washing my hands? It's watching my employees not washing my hands. Everything you are evaluated for and paid for is done by your people. It's just kind of setting up this premise. Therefore, your primary objective as a great leader is to do everything in your power to help your team members be as successful as is they can be, the difference between a leader and a manager, and you have to do people, but as a manager, you're driving to work and you're thinking, you're thinking, I've got to do a produce order today. I've got to call the repair guy. That's the manager thinking. The leader goes to work thinking, how am I going to get Melissa to my hostess to be better organized with my hostess waiting list on Saturdays? How am I going to get Jose the cook to keep his grills cleaner so that he can take 30, 40 seconds off of his? That's kind of the difference between the way a manager thinks and a leader. We want you to continue to kind of think more as a leader. Now, a word about probably this whole couple of days, and you're going to hear us talking about a lot of things that you should do, a lot of idealisms, and in a perfect world, this is what you want to do. I know that in your minds, a lot of times you're going to think, reality is a little bit different. My reality in my restaurant is a little bit different from what your ideal is. So you're driving to work with these great ideas that you want to do that day. And it's great because it's still 6 o'clock in the morning, so you can still think ideally. But you know, as well as I do, that when you get to that store and you step in there, one of the first things going to happen is they're going to tell you that there's a naked guy in the restroom again. And the cook is throwing up in the garbage. And here's a BPR guy. So that's reality. That's what you guys are really living with sometimes. So I just want you to think, if you are thinking that as we tell you the perfect world and the idealism of things that you should do, and that you get bogged down in the realities, get past those realities and then continue to think in an ideal way when you can. Don't lose that. Please don't lose the loftiness of the ideals that you want to push. We only succeed when our people succeed. There is no way possible that you are going to succeed if your people don't succeed. There is no way possible. One of the things I tell all of my brand new MIT students in orientation is your job will get very easy if you're a great leader. If you're a great leader, the morale will soar. Your employees are going to want to come to work instead of calling sick. They're going to be careful with what they do. They're going to be proud of what they do. The sanitation will come into life. Everything will come into life, and your job will get easy. The opposite is also true. The poor leader, the morale sinks. Your people are constantly calling in sick, not showing up. You're getting a lot of complaints. Their people don't work together, so you're getting a lot of inefficiency. So you got to schedule a lot more. So your labor goes up. So your numbers go down, and you're not hitting your numbers. And what happens then is that the good leader's job becomes easy. The weak leader's job becomes not just harder, but it becomes impossible. So what I'm going to do for the next few minutes is kind of talk to you a little bit more about how to use those tools as your people as better tools. We don't give you a lot of this stuff in training. You're not going to see it in Ignite. You're not going to see it in your MIT book. That's why I kind of wanted to bring up some of this today. Before I get into that, I'm going to talk about a common mistake that we make. And one is, I call it labeling. So when you label, you're looking at an employee and their performance, and you're thinking that there's something, you're making a judgment about that employee, and that's why their performance is bad. An example is the word lazy. I hear this a lot of times from my DMs, from my RMs. They say, this hostess, she is the second time today that I have to tell her to get the door. She's just lazy. Lazy becomes a label that we use as we describe her, and we begin to think of it. So we call it that, and then we think it's so. And the real problem with labeling, with calling them lazy, is that it kind of gets us off the hook as a manager. We think that, well, they're lazy. They were like born lazy, or maybe they achieved laziness in second grade, but there's nothing I can do about it now because they're just lazy, and that's dangerous. So I want to caution some of the examples, lazy, just slow. You think, oh, that person's just slow, I'm never going to get them faster. And the problem there is that you stop trying when you make that decision. On drugs, hear that a lot more these days than we did 10 years ago. Get that call from my manager saying, you know, I need to lose this person. Well, why? Because they're on drugs. I know they're on drugs. Well, why? Well, they're going to the restroom all the time. They come up with all these things that really you can't even discipline them for. But she's always negative. The problem is that labeling leads us away from solutions rather than toward them. So caution you to think about that as you use that term. We all do it. It's very human to do it. There's another word that I want to talk about. We heard it here earlier. The word is attitude. I think we're the one who used it. So we all use that word. There's something, and the problem is I see that word used directly to people, or I see it on EPRs too all the time. What is it that I don't like about that word?
It's a perception.
It's a perception?
Yeah.
Yep. Who's used the word? Anyone want to say who's used the word maybe on an EPR, something? Or just in, what, if I would ask you to define it, how would you define attitude?
Perception that somebody has of you. It's like,
Of
it's
you?
like, well, it's like we're talking about your attitude, it's how I perceive you to be.
But it could also be
Reaction to a situation.
It's what?
It's a reaction to a situation.
It's reactions, it's perceptions, it's the way you think about me, it's how you think about other people, they think about themselves, it's about their values. What really is it? We don't really know what it is. We really don't know what it is. What we do know is that it's inside them. It's in their psychology. So, as a boss, do we want to go there?
No.
Do we have a right to go there?
No.
So, if we, I feel the same way. I'm sure you guys are our GMs. How do you feel when we try and go inside your brains and in your feelings? If you're like me, you probably resent it. If my boss tries to get inside my brains and feelings, I'm gonna resent it. So, can I ask somebody to volunteer so I can kind of put them on the spot, pick on them? Anybody?
I will.
For $25? Okay. Give me the name of a stellar server that you worked with. Could have been 10 years ago, could have been yesterday. The first name that comes to mind, I mean, she is amazing. Megan. Tell me a little bit about, why is she the first one that comes to your mind?
Because she's always friendly, smiling, outgoing, paying attention to customers.
Probably her coworkers love working with her. Yeah. What would you do if you found out that when Megan was doing her refills, her coffee refills, in front of the customers, she had a huge smile and sparkle, and they love her. But you found out that when she was saying to them in her mind, internally, I wish you would just get your own effing coffee.
I would be amazed.
Okay, but let's say you found out. No, they can't hear it, they can't see it, they don't sense it. They look at her in adoration. They love Megan. Everybody loves Megan. What would you do if you found out that she was doing that inside of her?
I don't know if there's anything you can do as everybody else. I mean, I'd ask her, if there was anything we could do to help her not feel that way, but everybody.
What would you do?
Outside of talking with her, there'd be nothing I would do to her.
Keep doing her job.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
So,
Try to keep it inside the mom. She's smiling.
so you're saying you wouldn't necessarily do what? But I mean, really, like vulgar, profit. like she's busting a table and they're looking at her and they think, God, she is amazing. Look how detailed she's doing, and she's got a smile. But in her mind, she's saying, God, just wants to clean up after what would you do to her if she was doing that stuff?
How would
There's
we
a
know?
line at the door.
How would we know?
Let's just say you know. Let's say she admits it.
Okay.
Let's just say you know. I think I don't want to go overboard on this. But what would you do to her? There's a line at the door waiting for Megan's station. There's all these other empty tables. But they want her station. But inside, deep inside, internally, she's thinking these thoughts.
I guess I would try to figure out what's going on with her because she's so nice on the outside to everybody. Is there a problem personally bothering her or something? That's why she feels
Makes
like
it
that.
personal at that point. Now you're trying to get inside labeling her, like her attitude. You don't want to take it personal.
We don't want to go inside.
Yeah, you just want to be like, hey, keep it inside the mind. You're doing great, but don't coach it to the others. Yeah.
Great. All right. So that's the answer. Yeah. Here's your. And I. Oh, good throw.
That was a wiffle ball throw.
Actually, Felicia.
I lost it. I'm not good enough to be happy.
You need to come up.
I'm going to throw the piece at her.
So see if you can answer this question. If we don't care what they think, what do we care about?
Care that they're meeting the expectations
do.
that we're trying to set.
What they do, who said do? No, that's what I want. Oh.
Back to the gifts.
So, if we don't care, this is your second one today?
Yeah.
That's not fair. We don't care what they think and what they feel. We really, really care about what they do. So this block says, manage behavior only. Only thing we care about is what they do. Go ahead and see if you can place that without knocking it down.
She's in there.
That's why I don't really like the word attitude, because it's inside down. We don't want to get inside down. We only care about what they do. That now, we've decided, I hope, that we don't have a right to tell people what to think. What gives us the right to tell people what to do? Do we have the right to tell people what to do? We don't have the right to tell them what to think. Why do we have the right to tell them what to do?
Because
They're
they're
employees.
boss,
They're
they're
get
boss,
paid.
they're an employee, and they're supposed to be doing the things that you pay wants them to do. It's
Okay.
not a free-for-all, that's how things are done.
It's just a job that they were hired for.
Because their actions are affecting others.
Okay?
They get paid to do
Being-
what we ask them.
Thank you very much. So, something happened at the very beginning of their shift. Very beginning of their shift, started right at the beginning of their shift, they gave us the right to tell them what to do. What was that?
Clocked in.
They clocked in. They clocked in. That changed everything. Why don't you think about the concept as like you're renting their behavior. Some of you have rented cars, probably rented apartments. So what that happens is you say, I'm going to give you money. There's a contract. I'm going to give you money. And in exchange for that, I'm going to get back what that thing does. If it's a car, I get to use that car. If it's an apartment, I get to put up my pictures. I get to use the things in that apartment. Same thing with your employees. Sounds odd to think about it, but think about it as that you're renting their behavior. They came to you at some point and they said, sir or ma'am, in the very beginning, I will do what you tell me to do, as long as it's very reasonable, as long as you give me a paycheck that doesn't bounce. That happened somewhere before that first station clocked in. You said, okay, ma'am or sir, I want you to do what I tell you to do, as long as it's fair and reasonable, and I'll give you the tools to do it. And in the meantime, I'll try not to dismember you. So that's basically the implied contract. Think think about that you do have the right to tell people what to do. With all the legalities and the threats and the laws, sometimes we forget that we do have the right to tell people what to do. When that happens, think about it that way, that we're renting their behavior. I got a little bit ahead of myself. So, when you're talking about changing somebody's behavior, if you're a scientist and somebody says, I'm going to give you a pigeon in a cage, and I want you to change that pigeon's behavior. And that scientist, there's that pigeon, he's just standing there, has nothing to do. And you put in a button, a green button, and behind that green button, you put in a bunch of peanuts. And that pigeon finds out, if I push that button, I'm going to get a peanut. What do you think that pigeon's going to do? You're going to push the button. And is it going to only push it once? You're going to push that button. You're going to do it over and over and over. Now what if you put a red button in there, and then there's a red button, when he pushes that, he gets a little electric shock. What happens when he pushes that button? He's going to do it over once. Maybe he'll do it twice, but he's going to find out really quick. If I have a choice of the two buttons, which one am I going to push? In a lot of ways, you guys are the scientists, and our people are kind of the big. It sounds dry, but the thing I like about this concept is that it's simple, and it's like, so there's only two, as you're managing their behavior, there's only two possibilities when you're giving them those options. There's only positive, and there's negative. Behavior followed by a positive consequence is going to repeat itself. That's that green button. He's going to push that pigeon, he's going to push that button every time he's hungry. Behavior followed by a negative consequence will decrease in frequency. I gave you guys a little paper. I tried to put it here. I'm going to grab it. 1 second break here. Take a look at that paper. Okay. So again, we're kind of going back to the concept that we always tell you how important it is to manage your people and manage performance. But we don't always tell you how. So I kind of created this little tool here that gives you an idea of how they're going to get started. This is not something that you're going to be sitting down with the employee with. It's going to help you kind of think in your mind, what are some of the things that might be influencing their behavior before I go into the coaching one-on-one section. So the first thing on the top, and I won't go over into all these because we don't have time, but the first one, just to show you how it works. On the very top, you're going to kind of identify the behavior, the performance problem. And you can do this with any performance problem. So let's say the first question you have, is it worth your time and effort? So some things, this is kind of that don't sweat the small stuff thing, where if, let's say you've got a server, great server, it's Megan again. She loves her name tag, she's gaudied it all up, she's made it beautiful, she's worn it every single day for the last 3.5 months. Today she forgot it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna beat her up over that? This is really not a problem. So the question, so just to show you how it works, is it worth your time and effort? In this case, in Megan's case, it's a no. You're gonna just don't waste your time on it. Put the form away. Go do something else. But if it's yes, then the question you would ask yourself, do they know the performance is unsatisfactory? If they don't, if it's their side work, say, and they don't, it's a question you're asking yourself, do they know their side work? If the answer is no, then it is no, you're just gonna, well, there's some questions, do they know it's unsatisfactory? Do they know they're doing it thoroughly enough? The answer is no, give them feedback, let them know. Okay, you're doing the right things, but you're not cleaning on top of that juice machine. And so we're gonna help you do it better. If the answer is yes, she does know, then you go to the next one. do they know what they're supposed to do? So this is a person who might be doing station 2 side work instead of station 3, or she's confused on what it is. So then you go over those charts and you show them. So if they do know that they're still acting, then you say, do they know how to do it? So if we're back on the side work thing, maybe they just don't know how to take apart the just machine and teach them. So this is kind of simple, and then it gets a little bit more complicated. Do they know why they should do it? So we've already established that they know what to do and how to do, but for some reason they're still not doing it. You're still down to this level and they're still not doing it. So now the question is why? Why are they? Of course, when we talk about why all the time, we were talking about hand washing before, and I've been struggling a little bit with getting to count to 20. And and now I see this server, and she does it again, and I can explain. Look, we run 6,000 customers through this restaurant a week. Some percentage of them, maybe just 4% of them, have a communicable disease. Some of them are Hep C. Some of them could be a really rare herpes that they picked up in South America, and they sat in your station, and you just put your fingers right where he sloshed his lips, and then you went back to the break table and you popped an M&M in your mouth. And so this is why you wash your hands, just by explaining why. I don't use that, it's just something I do, but this is why. By explaining why, often you don't have to go into the counseling session. Are there obstacles beyond their control? I think maybe the server, you're walking around the corner, and here's a server with 4 big water glasses in her hands like this, and she's got the veggie dish with the cream sitting on the top of this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Something's missing from this picture. Are there obstacles? This is what you want to train yourself as. Maybe there's obstacles. If you sit down and you talk with her, she might say, oh God, boss, I know, but we're really short on trays. I don't know where they all went. Or people don't put trays back where they go, so sometimes I have to walk 50 feet to get a tray, to walk 4 feet to drop off. So that's just an example of obstacles that you can help them with. Again, you're helping them with their performance. Just something that so yes, remove the obstacles. I'm going to order more trays. I'm going to make sure people put trays back where they go. Do they think your way will not work? That's a little bit tricky, but you make that decision. Often that happens. They just don't think that what you're telling them is true, so you're going to convince them. If that's not the question, do they think their way is better? I think of IHOP server that we hired. You're so excited. You got a 12-year IHOP server. It's just what I need. I need that strength. But she's 3 days into training, and she's done with the training, right? She's like, you're not going to tell me anymore. I've been around forever. I know exactly what I need to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's the person who thinks their way is better. Do they think something else is more important? This might be the cook who has 4 inserts of country gravy on his line going into a small rush, and you're trying to understand why you have 4 inserts, and he says, there is no way I'm going to run out of product. I hate running out of product. But that's his priority. Your priority might be, I want to throw out product. So you have a difference in priorities. His priority is, I don't want to run out. Your priority is, I don't want to throw out. So you talk about priorities. Are there positive consequences to them for performing appropriately? There is, so now we're back to pigeon. There's a small group of employees in all of your restaurants that is really, really key employees. It's not a job code. A small group of employees that do something special for you that often go unrewarded or under-rewarded. Anybody have any idea what group of employees? Is there one? It's not a job code.
I say trainers.
Trainers. Thank you very much. So,
You're,
huh?
it's okay.
You sure? This is an example of how many of you have had trainers in your store and they did a good job. And maybe they trained and they trained and they trained, and then they came to you and said, I just don't want to train anymore. I'm kind of tired of it. It's a big distraction. I think we've all seen that happen in our restaurants. It's all very disappointing to us when that happens. And it's often because they're under-rewarded. And so it's really back to the pigeon. That trainer is your pigeon. And she was pushing that button. But the peanuts stopped coming out. You forgot to load the peanuts. And the peanuts stopped coming out, and now she doesn't want to train you. And she's not going to tell you this, because she really likes you. And the last 8 trainees she probably did was just out of loyalty to you, and she loves working for you. She's not going to tell you it's because I'm not being rewarded. But often that's the case. So I think that I think I'm going to take a quick digression here, because I think often you're wondering what's the best way to reward our trainers. So I'm going to talk just for a couple minutes about a word I've been thinking about a lot that as I was writing this kind of workshop, and the word is recognition. And I like this word, not like words anyway. But if you think about it, recognition usually means reward or award or something like that. Recognition, if you think about the root of the word, cognition just means thinking, and means again. And so sometimes we just need to stop and think. And I think it's sometimes it seems like it's a lost art, because there's so much coming at us, right? We've got all these reports coming at us, all the data coming at us, all the changes coming at us. We got memos coming at us, we got emails coming at us. It's really crazy. Doug talked this morning about how different it is in the restaurants today. It's really crazy, different how much stuff. I mean, you have 2 phones now in your restaurant, right? You guys all have 2 phones now? Now it's so great that you can get 2 calls at once. Well, we forgot to tell you is all those calls are going to be for you, right? So now you're like this, right? Now, for the first time in the history of Denny's, 2 employees can call in sick at exactly the same time. You're like, what? So this is kind of the way there's so much coming at us that we just stop and think. So I'm going to take a moment and see if I can pull those off. I'm going to do some recognition, and I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about you for a second. It's going to be a little bit from the heart. We'll see if I can pull this off. One of the first things I think about when I think about you is all of the hats that you wear. Earlier, when Carl was talking, he talked about leadership traits, and you all had things that you do that are so important to you. But I think you even go farther than that and say, you have to now be technical experts for what's happening in the office. You didn't have to used to do that. Disruptive customers, the way you deal with them is amazing. There's just so much stuff. This whole DL is what we do, is we hire general managers. And it's so hard to find general people that have to wear so many hats as you do and do it well. It's really hard. That's the first thing I think about you, is how rare you are for just having all those different skills. The second thing I think about is the crises that you deal with. So almost as a matter of course. So you're already struggling with cooks. It's been hard, and all of a sudden now you've lost your graveyard cook. Your long-term, super stable, super reliable guy. Something happened, family emergency, right now, bam, you've lost them, you're in trouble. The restaurant's in trouble. Who's going to fix this problem? Are you going to fix it? You know it's not going to be that way. You're going to take this long, you're going to lose sleep over it, but you're going to, and it's hard, and you've all dealt with it, and you deal with it all the time, and it's hard. But somehow you pull out that magic, and somehow you fix that problem. Crisis. So Saturday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, you're at the register, line of people at the door, commotion over on table 31. It comes to you, you find out that really nice Muslim lady, for the first time in her life, has eaten pork in your restaurant on table 31. She's crying. She's saying, I said turkey bacon. Server says, I didn't hear turkey bacon, I swear. She's a nice 28-year-old Muslim lady's crying. Her family's crying. Her kids are crying. The server's crying. Oh, it's the first time in her life she's eaten pork in your restaurant. And there you go. You start walking to that table. And that's you. You've done this kind of stuff. You do this kind of stuff all the time. And you're walking to that table, and you have no idea what you're going to do when you get there. You have no idea what you're going to say, what you're going to do, but you go. And for that, you're just amazing. You go, and you get there, and you do it again. You pull out that magic that you have, that only you have. You pull it out, and you fix it. Those are the crises. So those are two things I think of that are really cool, but there's something else that is really, really cool about what we do. And that is when you've been in the restaurant for months and even years, and you're the person who, from your heart and your soul, have been choosing the people to work there, and also molding the people who work there. Something changes in that restaurant. Those people, that team, that restaurant, becomes a reflection of what you are, because this has come from you. No one else can create this but you. And it comes from your heart and your soul, and that's what puts the character and the personality into your restaurant. And you don't see this. I don't think you see this very well. Do you see it because we're in and out? Well, who else sees this, do you think? Yes. Customers. The customers see it. How many times do they say, I drove by another Denny's to come to yours? I'm sure you get that. Customers see this. And this is that same magic that you have. And it's an amazing thing. And what I don't think you realize is, and Doug said it this morning, is how important that magic that you put into that restaurant. Your heart and soul becomes the heart and soul of those four walls. And everybody in the company relies totally on that magic from you. The office workers, the IT guys, the DLs, Doug and Dennis. That magic that comes from you is really the foundation for the whole company. So for that, I just want to say thank you. And if you take nothing else home with you from this conference, is I want you to take our gratitude and your acknowledgement of that. All right, so that's an example of recognition. I'm going to whip through the rest of this. Are there negative consequences for them performing appropriately? You will probably not see yourself doing this. I know I didn't used to, and we all still do this. They do something well, but they get a bad consequence for it. So I have when I was a GM, I had a grease trap, one of those internal grease traps in the dish room. You guys ever seen those? The most disgusting things in the world. Oh my God. Once a month, you have to take that lid off, and the whole restaurant can smell it. And you have to clean that thing. You have just a certain amount of time, and the person cleaning it, it's like retching. It's disgusting, horrible job. And I would usually help them do it because I felt so bad for them. And then finally one day I hired a guy named Eduardo, great kid, brand new guy. And I start to show him how to clean this grease trap. God, this guy is going for it. He's got this thing, and he's retching just like everybody else. But he's got that thing wiped out, clean, scrubbed. Then he goes and he gets the hot hose, and I'm not even telling him. He gets the hot hose, and he's got all that suds. He's got degreaser, and then he takes the lid and he puts it in the 3-sink with more degreaser. And this thing is beautiful. It's the cleanest grease trap has ever been. He was retching just like everybody else. And I say to him, what a great job. Now you're going to do it every month. So that's an example. That's an example of a negative consequence for somebody doing a good job. I didn't think of it that way. I just thought, finally, I found somebody to do it. So think about that. The answer to this case: remove the negative consequence, or balance with positive consequence. In his case, he was a new guy, but he wanted Sundays off because he wanted to play soccer. In Portland, the whole community comes out to park to play soccer together. And all their family comes out. And he really wanted to do this, but I'm like, Sunday morning, forget it, dude. This is the busiest day. I don't get Sundays off. You're not going to get Sundays off. And then I saw him clean the grease trap. So I was able to make a deal with him and say, all right, I'll give you 2 Sundays off if you do this grease trap for me every month. And so then all the other employees come in and say, what's the deal? You're giving the new guy Sundays off. I've asked for a year. I can't get Sundays off. Then I say, okay, well, how about you do the grease trap? No, thank you. No, nothing so bad about Sundays. Nothing so bad about Sundays. So are there positive consequences for them? That's, I think, are there positive consequences for them performing inappropriately? My example for that one. Are there negative consequences for them for performing inappropriately? This is like, there's the cook comes to work and he doesn't wear his hat. You give him a hat and say, please. A week later, the hat's gone again. Another week later, here he is. He keeps forgetting his hat, and you keep giving him new hats. And then pretty soon, now you're out of hats, and he doesn't have to wear a hat. So there was no negative consequence for him for not wearing hats. What you did before, we forgot to load the peanuts for the trainers. Now we forgot to hook up the shock on the red button. Right. So there's no shock. Doesn't have to wear a hat. So I won't go into any more of these too much in detail. Our personal problems that you're facing, that's an important one that comes up a lot with, especially people who are unreliable. You get that from. You get somebody who misses a lot of time, but every time they miss, it's a really important thing. Like their aunt has a stroke, or there's the snow, and I can't get down the hill. And every one of their examples is a really good example, and you can't really, do anything to them, but you would go to them and say, okay, I know that you have all these personal problems, and I wish that I could help you with them, and if I can, I want to, but I also have a problem, and my problem is your reliability. So you take it off of their problem, you make it our problem. That's the way to do that. Now I'm out of time, so I'm going to pass up, but I just wanted to give you maybe some new ideas today, some things that you don't hear about all the time. And hopefully, if we're here next year, or maybe it will be Maui or somewhere, so then we'll get into the actual face-to-face coaching discussion in the office, which often you guys need help with that, and we all do, just putting the words in your mouth. So if all this did not go to the PowerPoint very well, we'll do a quick little summary. So quick summary, management and leadership are different qualities in a restaurant supervisor, different skills and traits, we went over that. Your objective as a leader is to make your people as successful as they can be so you can accomplish it. There's no way you're going to be successful if your people aren't. You put everything you have into making your people successful. Focus on their behavior only, not what they think. Master that science with the pigeon of changing that behavior based on positive and negative consequences that you provide. Anybody want to make any comments? Anyone have any questions?
I can.
Yes, Bruce.
One of the things that I like to see, usually I deal with this with new managers, is the fact that changing the mentality that we have about dealing with the problem and going to the next level. And usually we do that a lot because we are too busy or anything. I always tell them, do not just deal with the problem. If we want to progress, we always have to go to the next level. So it's something required, a memo, a counseling, a hug sometimes for the employee, whatever we need to do to go to the next level. Just fixing that moment is usually not enough. We keep going, but we don't keep growing. So it's important to do that.
Great point. Great, thank you. All right, Jalil, take the floor.
Well, hello.
Hello.
What is that? Go on. Now we're going to talk about the order. Let me tell you a little short story. It was a sculpture. He goes find his big stone. He drags it home. He works on it. A few days, a week. Then he's unwilling to his friends. His friend says, "Hey, you created a masterpiece." The sculptor said, "No, masterpiece was always there. I just chipped away the rough edges." That's what you do every day when you walk into your unit. You got a brand new employee, all excited to come to work, to get the job. It's ready, it's coming. And it's you that gonna chip off those rough edges to make him to be your best leader, to become the best employee. Don't forget to sharpen yourself. Why? When's the last time you read a book to do something for yourself? Have you read a book recently? What have you done to help yourself to be better than yesterday? Don't forget, every day you wake up, you look in the mirror. You are the first. You are the one that's going to make that store to be better tomorrow. Right? Cross training. How important is cross training?
Very.
Do we do that in our restaurants? It's going to help when that server assistant goes in the kitchen and the cook is a little behind. Say, "Hey, can you throw some pancake on the grill?" Or it goes, "Make some pancakes for them." Or a hostess that's not busy says, "Hey, let me run your food out." That cross training is going to help your people to be better at what they do. When you cross train them 100%, they understand each other's job. So what happens? You built a better structure. You built a unit that they work in harmony because they understand each other. They know what each other go through when the time is rough. They built, thank you, the trust. Mentoring. Who's your mentor? Anybody? Do you have a mentor?
You right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Who's your mentor? If you don't have one, look the peers in your market. Why? Because there are somebody in your market that's doing a great job on a food cost, a great job on labor cost, a great job keeping or growing their staff. Find them and make them your mentor. Mentoring is also important for who? For your staff, isn't it? Because every brand new employee comes to your restaurant, they're like, "How am I going to work here? I don't know anybody." Give them a mentor so that they be able to connect and be someone to go to be able to connect. Ignite. We talk about Ignite. Is this how we do Ignite? The way we want to do Ignite, it should be conjunction with what? With hands-on, right? You don't want to say, "Oh, you hired today, here's the laptop, what's it on, finish all Ignite." You have 20 lessons that you got to finish. Is that going to help? It would be smarter if we say, "Hey, can you finish this lesson? Come on up." And then now do it. Now they coordinate together. What happens to that individual? They know that you care for them. They know you're teaching them the good and the best way they're going to learn the things they got. Start training. How important that person is to your operation?
Very.
Why is it important?
They're the person training their new employees.
Because they are almost your right or left hand. Because without them, you're gonna have a harder job. So raise your hand. How many of you have 8-star trainers? Really? How many employees you have in your store? 30? So why not have at least 8 of them? Why do you want 8? The more eyes you have, it does what for you? Makes your job easier. Because that star trainer can run the register for you, or can do the template, or can do other things for you, right? Get that star trainers developed. Because when you develop those star trainers, they make your job what? Easier. Why not? You are what? A leader. You manage and lead combination. So what happened? Your store will continue successful. When we do the star trainer, what do we have all of these? That's what we do with them at the restaurant, right? When they come to the mail, we get them and we toss them. Don't do that. Use them. They're guiding to how. Because when your employee gets them, what do they do with it? They have a path of a success to go. Just like Mr. Dennis says, you're giving them that stream to go straight. You're pulling them while you're sitting down, checking it. Hey, let me see what you got on your book. Let me see what you're doing. Let me validate your work. Get 5 minutes, check on their night, see if they complete it. Your star trainers are there to help you to continue going forward. You teach them, it makes it easier for them. Then is development. Who wants to be a puddle? What does a puddle do? What happens to the puddle? Do you think about that? Puddles dries up, right? Your employees are the same thing. You stop developing them, they're going to dry out. Never stop development. Because the development, what makes us to be better tomorrow. When you want to develop, stay focused with what you want them to do. Nobody wants to come to work and say, oh, I gotta go to work again. If they wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna have a great day, because I'm gonna go today and they're gonna show me how to do this. Right? They come in all inspired and happy and hungry to win. O55 development. My manager called in sick. Here's the key. You're O55ing today. Is that a development? No. Why can't we get all of our RPs and O55s to be one of the star trainers? Won't they be a better operator when they run that shift? Now you're setting what is called the ladder. When you look at the ladder, what do? From here you go all the way up. What do? You go one step at a time, right? Yeah. So when you hired them from a day one, you brought them into star training, you develop them, now you make them an RP. Now what are you doing to them? You're creating this structure. That structure is what? This is your creation. This is you. Because you're the one maintain this. You're the one put the pieces together. You're the one that fill the holes when things go wrong. You're the leader and the manager that built this structure for what? For the success of your unit. You are that person that's going to get this and say, hey, I want to keep building. And what happened to QK? They continue building. So you, as a leader, are the one that's going to continue growing. ERP promotions. You all heard today how many managers we lost. RM promotion, sorry. You all heard about it. You know, it is very important that we continue with that development. If you lose a manager, how long does it take to get one? Usually takes 2 weeks.
10 weeks.
Usually takes 2 weeks for setting up, for you to have to set up an ad and get interview done. Then it takes another week to do background check and other things. Then it takes 6 to 10 weeks to train them. So you've gone the whole quarter without one. So that's why it's important for you to continue growing your people. Growing starts with you when you look on the mirror. Grow yourself first. Because just like they say in the airplane, when the oxygen comes out, what do? You put it on yourself first, and then you put it on the one that needs help. That is you. You're the leader of that restaurant. You're the one that's going to make those connections. I thank you for your time. Great to have it. Joe's going to go through a couple of things. Thank you.
Okay, just to touch on a few things that we went over today. We talked about the importance of getting great people. We talked about some behaviors that will keep them. And we talked a little bit how to grow them. I just want to mention something else on the growing part. He touched on it, the mentor part. Anybody know the difference between mentoring and training? I'm going to give this chip away somehow.
I would say a trainer shows you how to do it. A mentor actually takes the time to make sure you understand everything, helps you with stuff that you're not sure of.
Good answer. There's a gentleman over here first.
Mentoring is more voluntary, training is more structured.
Good, good. Now what I'm looking for just yet.
Training is at the beginning and mentoring continues throughout.
That's very good.
No, I was gonna say the same thing, ongoing.
I'm going to leave this one for the last question to be really easy. The main difference between training and mentoring is so important, but training is you're trusting in the system. You're trusting in the training system. So we have training books and you're trusting in the system. Mentoring is you're trusting in that person. You're trusting in that individual. So it is ongoing on there. So it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So be a mentor to somebody. Now we've stood up here for almost 2 hours and talked a lot, said a lot of words. But some of this is all theory. You know, some of it's not as practical. But you can take it and make it your own. Find the things that you can improve upon, and then just take a little bit. Some of you have been here for 8 years. You know, some of you are going, hey, I wish I would have started doing this 8 years ago. The good news is, well, we don't have a time machine, so you can't go back 8 years, but you can start today. So it's never too late to be your best. So, one more question, as I'm trying to get a video ready for you for 25. What is the goal per day for 25?
$85. $82.
$82. Who said 82?
He said 82 per day.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with $82.
$82 is correct. So we'll see if we can get this video going.
Guys, so while he does that, we are going to break for lunch at noon, I guess, here in Vegas. So make sure to take your name tags. We got you the books, those little things you can keep, and some pins. But this is our motivational speaker for later, and so he wanted to share some Bill Green.
It's good to see you, or to see you again. There's a good speaking with you tonight on the importance of recognition in the workplace. But right now, the opportunity is to talk to you and
Sorry about the sound, guys.
take all of this fantastic stuff and great. A common theme that you had is in this workshop is to grow with your team. Talk about the growth model for coaching someone. Talk about growing your talents and abilities. I know you think about my plans. I was looking to see how it's growing. And all this talk of growing brings me to the application piece, which is great teams need to think like a player. What does that mean as you return to your restaurants and grow your team? I think it means 4 key things. You've seen 4 concepts outlined on your application card. The first one is that word grow. It's creating that environment where people want to grow. Think about that. What type of environment do you create by your management style, by your leadership? People want to be around you, they want to talk to you, they want to look at the best, or they don't want to talk to you sometimes, but they feel like you're too busy. What type of environment do you create? Secondly, do you know what motivates each one of your team members? Do you know what makes them tick and what ticks them off? Because that's a key part of growing and creating the right environment is knowing what motivates each individual team member. As you know, it's a contest. The second word of the process is cultivate. Now, I love the discussion that you had in this workshop about manager versus leader, because as you know, it takes both to run a successful restaurant. And cultivation is all about those things you're doing to manage that restaurant and make it run smoothly. And it comes down, I think, to 3 P's, and those P's are priorities, processes, and people. Think about priorities first of all. Are you clear about the priorities that you need to have each day as a manager of that restaurant? Are your people clear about what their priorities need to be? If they get a tough situation, do they know how to distinguish between I should do this versus that? That leads me to the second P, which is processes. What are the processes you have in place to grow your team members, to help them be at their best, to onboard them, to deal with problems or challenges? Are they consistent? Are you engaging in them consistently? And if not, maybe it's time to change some processes. And finally, the third P is people. How are you managing your people? Again, it goes back to that grow thing. Are you managing them in such a way that they want to grow, or are they content to stay with the status quo? The third word that you'll see on this application card is prune. You say, what does that mean? Well, prune is simply when you cut back to grow forward. It's when you realize that you're so busy that maybe you're not taking the opportunity to build your team. Where could you cut back? Where could you delegate something to someone else so that it creates some space for you to really focus on the development of your team members? And that's what we mean by prune. And finally, 4th word on the card, harvest. Any good gardener or any person who grows plants gets excited when they see the smallest shoot of new growth on the plant, because that means that more growth is coming later because it's healthy. How good are you at noticing the little growth moments? We call them harvest moments of people on the team. Can you name something that maybe a team member maybe wasn't doing a week ago or a month ago, but they're doing now? More importantly, did you celebrate that with the team members in an appropriate way? Did you help them see that was important, that they continue to grow? And most importantly, did another team member see you doing that so that they too want to grow and get those accolades and recognition that's so critical? That's what we mean by harvest moments and thinking like a gardener. So as you build great teams, remember those 4 words as you think like a gardener. Grow, cultivate, prune, and harvest, and watch how the success of your restaurant too continues.
20 and 5.
So one final thought as we end this Build Great Teams workshop is we just want to remind you that you are our great team. And we're so proud of you. Please don't ever forget that. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Do we know where we're going next?
Lunch.
Yeah, they have a little down there on it.
Okay.